Hello everybody, and welcome to the WHO Bulletin. Welcome, it's a Tuesday. Welcome to the stream. This episode of the WHO Bulletin is going to be a bit of a different one. So the original plan, obviously, of course, was to talk about Dot and Bubble, the latest Doctor Who episode. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. So that is part of the plan. We're going to be doing all the usual stuff, all of the Hoodle stuff, all of the review stuff, all of that lovely stuff. But before we do that, I wanted to quickly talk about the news which has just happened, and I kind of didn't want to not acknowledge it. I didn't want it to sort of, just sort of hold off on doing anything. But yeah, if you have missed the news, at age 99, Doctor Who actor William Russell has passed away. He played Ian Chesterton in the original first few seasons of the show. A wonderful actor, a wonderful character with such heart and love towards this show, even appearing in The Power of the Doctor last year. A wonderful, wonderful man who's going to leave behind an incredible legacy, both in the eyes of Doctor Who fans across the world, but also for film and TV as a whole. He's made many contributions over his long and wonderful life. And yeah, I'm not one for these sorts of words, so I don't know how I have too much to say, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I've rehearsed a whole speech, or that I've met him. I've never met him. But I want to just put a little thing at the beginning here to say, rest in peace to William Russell, one of the first Doctor Who companions ever, Ian Chesterton. So rest in peace. And yeah, I'm sure a lot of respect will be coming in over on Twitter over the next few hours, which is it's sad news. It is sad news, and these things do happen, and there's a lot of tributes that I can just see, and it's very sad, and it is very, very sad. But yeah, as I say, I don't want it to sort of stop everything, but I did want to have a moment to acknowledge that before we sort of crack on with our usual programming. So I'll leave you with that as I quickly adjust my lights. But yeah, sad shit, man, sad shit. I'm glad it didn't happen live, so I wouldn't have known how to react. Deary me. But yeah, that's news, and that's some horrible news, which has only just come in the last sort of hour or so as well. This is literally like just happened, which is horrible stuff. Welcome to the stream, though, everyone. I will say a little thank you and a little welcome to one and all in the stream here. It's roasting in here. I'm gonna have to turn this on. Yeah, let's have a look. So anyway, welcome to the stream, everyone. Yeah, Ben Newbolt at the Underhenge, Dr. Master, Mr. Scarlo, alternate 13th guy. Oasis Central, Doctor Who, Mania Universe Archive, Dan Toothpick, Danny Phillipson. Yeah. So if you are new here, welcome to the stream. We're going to sort of move on past that now, as we talk about obviously the episode and all that sort of thing. Exactly, and I completely agree with literal truth there. In terms of you make it to such a wonderful old age, you have had such an impact and rich career, and yeah, completely, absolutely. It shouldn't be a time of mourning or loss. It's about celebrating such a wonderful life and legacy to leave behind. So yeah, that is absolutely just something that, yeah, I wanted to put in here. I didn't want it to be the whole stream or anything like that, but I did want to just sort of put something in here because I'd feel bad if I didn't do anything like that, and I'd feel, I felt somewhat obliged to say something about it as a sort of Doctor Who news live stream show thing. I feel obliged to talk about that. But you're right, we should celebrate that life. Absolutely. But yes, we can move on to. I got to the Guinness World Records. Did he? Oh man. But yes, I don't really know how to transition on from this. I feel really bad about it, but I feel like we should just sort of let's kind of. Yeah, well, I mean, just keep throwing your tributes in the chat, and we'll absolutely be reading those out as time goes on. Some really wonderful and lovely stuff being said. We'll do our Hoodle as we do every week here on the WHO Bulletin, and talk about all that. So if you're not familiar with what a Hoodle is, you get a few pictures from a Doctor Who episode, and you have to basically guess what episode it is. And I don't do them for about a week, so I can come in these lovely streams and do them on here, and that is always the plan and the idea. For this one, I'm thinking Day of the Doctor, because it looks like that count. Okay, that makes me incredibly nerdy. But let's go with that. Longest time between character appearances: The Chase in 1965 and The Power of the Doctor in 2022. Wow. That's a phenomenal thing to get. Oh, this is ridiculous. I don't know what the hell that is. But looking at the BBC logo and where it is, I'm thinking The Witchfinders. No. Demons of the Punjab. Got the right series though. Okay, I don't remember the water bit. That's good. I hope that Carol gets to come back as Susan now. We don't know how long we have her for. I hope the Susan twist isn't Susan Foreman, because let's not waste the time we have with Carol Ann. Completely agree. If they ever do Susan again, they'd have to bring back Carol Ann Ford. This is an interesting one. I'm thinking. I have no idea what that is. That could be anything. I'm gonna get dinosaurs on a spaceship just because of the sort of UI we're getting here. It's earlier than that though, isn't it? That's a vortex manipulator, I think. So I'm thinking Sound of Drums. Yeah. I don't remember that in Sound of Drums. Interesting. Well, that's got to be somewhat easy, isn't it? Nicholas versus Night of Terror. Surely it's that. No? Okay. Could be anything with those lens flares, couldn't it? I've done Praxeus before, it can't be that. Spyfall, maybe? Spyfall Part 1, although I feel like we've had that recently as well. Leave Now? I can't remember that either. It's a Geordie one. Unless it's... Oh, I didn't even realise what the camera was doing. Thanks to everyone who didn't point that out. Fuck's sake. It takes you away, maybe? I can't remember that. Oh, it's a more recent one than that. It's an Angels one. Yeah, it's Village of the Angels. Oh wow, okay. Completely wrong then. Wonderful. That's very good. Very, very good. Long game? Oh no. Wrong era completely. I don't know. Death in Heaven? Oh, for fuck. What is that from then? Where is that? Oh, that's a really clever one. That's the when the captain's pulled out, isn't it? That's annoying. That's not really that fair. That's Twice Upon a Time. I know exactly what it is. Very good. That's a good first one, because that's genuinely really hard. I have no idea. I really have no idea with this one. Geordie era. I'm thinking... Oh, no, I know what it is. Ascension of the Cybermen, I think. No? Oh, it's not even that. It's fucking Wild Blue Yonder. Fuck. It is a newer BBC logo, but I thought that was like some Cyberman ship, maybe. Incredible. Really, really good. Disappointed I didn't get that, but that's where the probe gets sent out, isn't it? Ah, it's very good. Very good. Oh. That's hard. It's a Capaldi. I think it might be a Series 8, I'm thinking, maybe. But I'm thinking it's one that I haven't seen that much. Listen, maybe. Oh, no, it's Time Heist, right? No? Oh, it's fucking Dark Water. Really? That surprises me, actually. Yeah. Damn, that's a hard one. And then the Footprint of the Snow. I think we did this one last week, but I can't remember what it was. Planet of the Ood? No, it wasn't that, was it? I think I actually am doing worse than I did last time. We have done this one. We did this one last week, I think. I vaguely remember it. Or I've done it. I don't think I've opened it since, so that would not really make much sense. What the hell is this? Oh, I know I did get it straight away. It was Unquiet Dead. Because it's Christmas and it's trying to fool you, but it's not going to work. Because it's an Eccleston episode. Wonderful. Before we talk about the episode, so that's our next thing we're going to do. We're going to talk about Dot and Bubble. I'm sure you're all dying to know what my opinions on that episode are. Before we do that, I've got something I want to show you, i.e. I want to promote, because it's brand new. It's linked in the chat already, so you've got really no excuses. But I have launched a new YouTube channel. For the podcast that we waffle on about every single week. It's called Nostalgia Bit. It is here on YouTube, and it is a brand new channel. All of our podcast episodes are going to be coming here on the YouTube channel in full video. Full-length episodes in video with both me and Cooper. Highlights, hashtag shorts. We're going to be getting some more of those coming. We've already got 2 on there. We've launched it today. So basically all future Nostalgia Bit episodes are going to be seen on here. So please go and check out the link in the chat, which will take you to this video. Please do go and subscribe to that channel. Maybe put notifications on if you fancy it. But this is our main new Nostalgia Bit podcast channel on YouTube that you guys can go and see. So if you're not already subscribed, I'd really appreciate it. There's 47 of you watching, so we should definitely be able to get that number up a little bit. Thank you to whoever subscribed to get us to 30, but definitely go and check that out. We'll be checking back on this at the end of the stream. And it would be lovely to see that number climb from 29, 30 to something a lot higher. So keep an eye out for that. And if you weren't aware that I had a podcast, God knows how, we do have, we have 15 episodes out already, which is, I mean, wow, how exciting. Over on Spotify and on this YouTube channel here. But obviously the future I wanted it to be somewhere else, but we got it on Spotify here, as you can see. 15 whole episodes, a few Doctor Who related ones, a few Star Wars ones. But yeah, very exciting future. We're recording with the podcast promo. Gotta be happening. But we wanted to do video podcast. We were always wanting to do video eventually. It was always on the pipeline to do. But we wanted to get settled first. We wanted to sort of work out the dynamic between us and get to a point where we could do video. So we're constantly trying to update and improve and sort of get the thing looking and feeling as best as possible. So it's actually entertaining to you all, and I don't have to promote it every week. You guys will just know it's happening. Can we get Spill Your Beans back? Yeah, that's very funny. That is very funny. Check that out. There we go, 33. That's lovely. Thank you all for subscribing to that. We'll mention that again at the end of the live stream. But bring back the QR code. Yeah, that didn't fucking work, did it? So I just got rid of that. But yeah, no, Spill Your Beans is a funny one. Well, Spill Your Beans, it wasn't that it was a whole reason as to why I'm not doing that anymore, and that's just because it was a flawed, like, it was a flawed idea for me because I just burnt out so quickly. What the fuck? YouTube's trying to get me to sign in, even though I'm streaming on YouTube. That's good. Spill Your Beans is a fun one. We did a lot of episodes of that. I think about 20 main episodes, so we're almost hitting it. It was fun, but the thing with Spill Your Beans was, it was something where, because it was just me hosting it, I got kind of sick of it, because you have to get new guests for every episode, and that was the kind of nature and the format of it. It's the first proper podcast I'd done, if you don't include the other ones. But the thing is, you learn as you go on with YouTube and stuff, and I think when I started YouTube, I did a lot of different YouTube podcasts. As Danny Phillipson has pointed out, Cod Pod is a deep cut to when I was about 14, maybe, and did my first podcast. But it wasn't really a podcast. It was like a 10-minute video talking about something. It wasn't actually a podcast because it wasn't that long. I don't know how I did a podcast in 10 minutes. I could barely cram it into an hour nowadays. But yeah, and then I had a few more, and we tried. You experiment with stuff, and most of them lasted about 2 episodes at a time, and then just stop altogether. But Spill Your Beans was like a long-lasting one that I think I was kind of done when I finished it, because it was mostly film reviews. No, Spill Your Beans wasn't the drunk reviews one. Spill Your Beans was very much just film reviews, but with guests every time, and it was great. And I have no regrets about that. But that made me learn about doing podcasting. That helped me actually understand the process of it. And I always said that because I finished uni, I started a job, and had to move house around the time that I had to continue that, and I just couldn't do the dedication of doing it weekly. Now, with Spill Your Beans, I had to do like 10 episodes, and then I had like a week break or something, or a few weeks break, so I could plan more interviews and more guests and stuff. Whereas with Nostalgia Bit, it's really nice because it's just me and Cooper, and we can chat, and then eventually we'll bring on guests, but there's not a reliance on it. We don't have to have that. We can still have episodes out every single week and not let anyone down. But yeah, that's why Spill Your Beans is never coming back, because I just haven't got the time for it, you know. Would you rather me do live streams and chat to you guys, or would you rather me try and organise a fucking film podcast? I've got a lot of different things on my plate. It's just not possible, and I knew it wasn't possible. That's why when I started the job for the first sort of year-ish, I didn't do any podcast stuff. I didn't do any YouTube content, didn't do any live streaming. But now I'm sort of picking that all back up again, and that's really nice. Let's talk about the fucking Doctor Who episode that we're here to talk about, actually. Yeah, that'll be fun. So, Dot and Bubble. Let me know, what did you guys think? I'll tell you what I thought. I thought it was good. I thought I enjoyed it, actually. I thought it was a lot of fun and something that I got a bit of a kick out of. I thought the episode was very clever. I don't think it was a perfect episode. I don't think it's the best certain topics have been handled in Doctor Who, but the ending is what makes it. If it didn't have the ending, it would be a kind of like average tier episode. The ending is super, super impactful, and I know there's a lot of question about it. There's a lot of debate about it, and I think it's clever. It's clever because you maybe watch it the first time and stuff sticks out to you, but it doesn't completely sink in initially. So then you get to the end and you're like, everything clicks into place and you understand exactly what it's trying to say, and then you go back and rewatch it and you pick up on so much more. And I think that's the kind of writing that I think is really clever, that's been missing so far from this era. Because I know Russell's a very clever writer, and I sort of somewhat expect some clever writing, and this was an example of that. I think that, you know, a lot of the stuff that was going on initially, I was sort of thinking maybe the Doctor is going to go like full Capaldi here and just sort of fucking rip her to bits and just shout at her. Not only for the fucking racism, but for like murdering Ricky September, you know. There's a lot of different elements in there which make whatever her name is, I can't remember what her name is, Pepper Bean something, she was a detestable character, and that is by design. And I think the brilliant part of the episode is she's so detestable that it's so that makes the ending so heartbreaking, because you're still rooting for the Doctor. You still want, you want it to go in a good way, and then you sort of realise how everything comes together, and you're like, that's such a clever way of doing it, Lindy, thank you. But then the problem I have with the episode is, unlike something like Blink, where you like the character, and you can have a situation where you like the character that you're watching, and then they shift and there's a twist. But with this, Lindy is quite detestable throughout the whole episode. There is a sort of transition to make the reveal more clear, but it's there throughout the whole episode. You can spot it throughout the whole episode. The racism, the privilege, the lack of cultural awareness, the lack of spatial awareness. Like, she's designed to be quite a detestable, annoying character. And that's the problem, I think, with the episode, that won't really stand the test of time. I think the ending's amazing, but there's not as big of a twist. It's more sort of there throughout the whole thing, which is good. But because of that, it makes watching the episode quite difficult, because Lindy Pepperbean is such an annoying fucking character that you don't enjoy it, and you don't root for her at all. And I would almost sort of prefer it if Russell had gone a little bit further off the deep end and almost made you like her before then showcasing how awful of a person she is. But that's just a thought. I mean, I don't know exactly how it works and how exactly you'd handle that sort of subject matter. I think there's an irony of talking about the whole city of Fine Time being white and that being a big plot point and all that sort of thing, when our crew in terms of writing and directing team this year has been predominantly white. It would have been nice to see a writer of colour or a director of colour handle this episode, but I like that Russell wanted to tell this story, and I like the fact that he was sort of felt that was necessary and right to do. So I do like that. A literal truth. That's a good point. I disagree with the lack of twist. It's playing on the trope, but you always expect a character like this to learn her lesson by the end, and it seems that she might, up until she kills the guy. Yeah, that's a good point. I think in that respect, yes, I think it does subvert expectations, but I think with the whole racism angle, there's no point of, and also she's not a likable person. Do you know what I mean? Not only is she racist kind of throughout, and it's sort of sprinkled in, but it's something that doesn't sort of change and shift. That whole subverting of expectations makes sense, but that only kind of works if, it's sort of because of that, because you know that she's going to be detestable throughout. You try and rewatch it, there's nothing likable. You just want her to get eaten by a slug. I'm not enjoying this season that much so far, to be honest. I really enjoyed the Xmas special, but the episodes have just been meh for me. Hoping it picks up for the finale. I think it will. I think the problem with this series so far is not only the 8-episode run, which I think has damaged it a little bit, because it's loads of different separate stories in 8 episodes. It's not working as well for me, and I think that especially the last 2 episodes have been very Doctor-light. We don't need that. You know, I know that the reason they did that was because Shooty was filming Sex Education, and that made complete sense, but for me, I think it is damaging the series a little bit, because actually there have only been 3 normal episodes of Doctor Who, and one of them was about a godlike character like the Toymaker, so a bit high concept, and one was unconventional in the way the Doctor has just stood still talking the whole episode in one location. So I would say there's only been one Doctor Who episode this season that has been normal, and that's Space Babies. And And that was quite a weak story. So I can completely understand. I think it's a balance of what's expected and what's normal and what's good and what's bad. And for me, I think I am looking forward to this week's episode, Rogue, because it looks to be like more of a normal Doctor Who episode. And a lot of the reviews are calling it a sort of back to roots, back to form Doctor Who episode with a few twists and turns that lead into the finale. And I think that's perfect. Yeah. Can you please talk about World, Enough and Time for a second? It's an excellent episode. World, Enough and Time is one of my all-time favourite Doctor Who episodes. It's a brilliant, brilliant bit of television, and will go down as one of the best Doctor Who episodes ever, in my opinion. It's incredible. Its direction, its lighting, its colouring, its performance, its writing, every part of that episode is stunning. I think you're right. If Russell T Davies could make you like her, the end would have been even more heartbreaking. That's not from the Doctor's point of view. We're focusing more on the characters within the world of each story. That's true as well. Do you think they should have spaced out 73 yards on Dot and Bubble? Yes, I do, but I don't know where you could have spaced them out to. I would have probably put it I don't know where I would have put it. I probably would have put maybe... I would have probably put Dot and Bubble third. I would have probably done Space Babies, Devil's Cord, Dot and Bubble, boom, 73 yards, and then Rogue. Nothing normal about Space Babies. But Space Babies, the thing with Space Babies though is it does follow the structure of a normal Doctor Who episode. They land on a random ship, they go and explore, they encounter a monster, they encounter a threat, a problem, a new setting, a new type of alien or babies in this case. They work out what the problem is and they solve it. It's a very standard by the numbers Doctor Who episode. Yeah. The bad thing about the filming so far in advance is the BBC can't amend any structural criticism from the first season. I don't think they ever intend to, that's the thing. But that's a wider issue, you know. When you either film so far ahead that you can't take any sort of criticisms on board, or you there was a point in there, it was really good, but it's gone. It's completely gone. I also think they can, though, to an extent, because they've only just finished shooting Season 2. They have a year to edit the thing and do the VFX work and stuff. There's definitely things that can be changed around in, how you cut an episode down. The likelihood is they've shot a lot more than 45 minutes worth of content, so they'll be able to probably have different parts of the episode, or make the episodes longer, maybe, I don't know. Do you think you'll need to know Bridgerton to fully understand the next episode? I hope not, because for me, I've never seen Bridgerton, so I don't have any intention of taking any knowledge into that. But yeah, there we go. It's not been the Doctor's point of view since 1989. Well, 1996. I don't know what that's about. It was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini stuck in my head. Yeah, I agree with that. I'm with you there. I think The Devil's Cord would have been a great mid-season episode, high stakes. Yeah, it would have been. I'm just thinking if you'd went straight from Space Babies to Dot and Bubble, it might not have worked as well, because it's quite Doctor-light. You want to have a couple with the Doctor first. And even though high stakes of Devil's Cord do work, and I think they are a great mid-season episode for that, I didn't mind having it quite early on. You know what? I quite like The Devil's Cord. I'm not even going to lie. I love that episode. It's great. I would love to know if the rumours are true that Disney switched up the running order to release The Devil's Cord early so that it balanced Space Babies. Would make the thing where Ruby was on the TARDIS for months make sense. Yeah, that whole months thing does irk me. That's the only thing that makes me think Devil's Cord was originally scheduled to be later in the series. But given that they never go back anyway to Christmas time, it's fine. I don't care that much. Because I feel like then I'm sort of... Initially I was like, oh yeah, they probably did mean to have that as a future episode and not episode 2. But then actually, have any of the other episodes touched on the fact that it's the normal... even 73 Yards wasn't set, in Christmas time, was it? You know what I mean? But yeah, it's interesting. I kind of helped Ricky September survived and was able to break free from the world he was in. Of course, he was racist, but it would have been nice to see him change that for the better. The last scene being a wake-up call for him. I think it's difficult because you never know, and it was never explicitly said what his character was like, but you have to sort of assume anyone from that world and anyone from that culture aren't great people. You have to just assume that and sort of not want them to be redeemed, because it can come across really badly if you do that, especially in a sort of medium nowadays like this. Is we're in a culture where there's a lot of behaviour and ideologies online and throughout the world that are very inhumane in how it runs, and especially racism is one of them. And I think you've got to be very careful how you tackle that in TV and film. And I think if you in any way if you do something like that, as much as I think that's not a bad idea, you could spin it in a sense where people could watch that and go, well, you're trying to say that it doesn't matter that he's racist, he's fine, he's learnt his lesson. It's like, no, it's like, it's not just about learning your lesson, it's knowing better in the first place. You know, it's not being prejudiced, it's not thinking in that way, you know. Oh, horrible voice break. But the ending of the episode, people also criticised, and I think there's levels of it that do make sense. It's like, well, he shouldn't have turned around and the doctor shouldn't have turned around and been like, I don't care what you think whatever you want, you can say whatever you want, I still want to save you. And it's like, yeah, I think in an ideal world he would have Capaldi there and smacked her across the face, but that's not the point. The point is that from a character perspective, Ncuti's doctor is not the first Doctor of colour, because we've had Joe Martin, but Joe Martin's Doctor exists in a sort of pre-Hartnell sort of can't remember this being that version of the Doctor sort of realm. So this is a Doctor who has the memories of various white people prior. And you got the sort of David Tennant thing from Shakespeare Code saying to Martha, going like, just walk around like you own the place. Worked for me. Which is a horrible statement anyway. And a horrible sentiment. But you sort of bring that to a character now. Oh no, don't apologise. No, it's good thought. It's a really good thought, and it's a good conversation to be had. I'm just giving my sort of 2 cents on it and how that could be perceived, and why I wouldn't go in that angle. But you never know. There's options for it. There's always options for it. But I just don't know if they had the time to really do that. But for me, yeah, the ending was sort of right in a way, because what it felt like was that Ncuti's Doctor here is you know, not like played by a white actor for the first time in their canonical lifetime that they can remember. So they do experience things in different ways. We had this with Jodie as well, being the first female Doctor, and you have episodes like The Witchfinders, which explore that the Doctor can be reckless, as they've always been, and gotten away with it in the past, and it'll catch up with them this time. And why it catches up with them is the problem, and that's what should be looked into, and I think that's what's important about it. That's what's important about The Witchfinders in terms of like talking about women's rights generally, but women's rights especially back in those days, where any woman who spoke up was labelled a witch and killed for speaking up, whereas a man would be able to do it, and that's what I quite like about The Witchfinders, is that the Doctor goes into that episode only recently having regenerated into a woman, and sort of running around and being like, you know, trying to sort of solve the situation as she always would, but then being drowned for it almost. So that's an interesting thing. And then the same thing here with Dot and Bubble is that it's the same exact thing, but with race, is the Doctor is just assuming that they would want to be saved. The only time in recent history that I can think of that a Doctor Who episode has ended with the side characters for that episode not wanting to be saved by the Doctor, not wanting to be helped by the Doctor, not trusting the Doctor, was Midnight. And Midnight was an example of a breakdown in trust and communication over the span of a 45-minute episode with the Doctor. Isolated, panicked, terrified, completely different conditions. Whereas this, she doesn't trust him because of race. And the Doctor can't get his head around that, because it doesn't make any sense. And I think that's the clever thing about this episode. It's not telling us that, because it's very easy to portray on TV and film that racism is evil, as it is. but racism is stupid. And I think that's also the clever thing that this episode portrays, is that it's stupid. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what baffles, I think, for me, and this is how I've perceived it anyway, and I'm perceiving it as like a white man, so I don't know, I could be getting this completely wrong, but how I see it is because he's sort of, he doesn't understand, because it is stupid. Lindy Pepperbean is a stupid character. These people are stupid. They would rather die. And that's stupid. That is completely stupid and horrendous and awful. And yeah, and the Doctor, who is someone who is all caring about anyone, will save anyone's life. The same person who held out a hand to Davros to save his life after he almost tried to decimate the whole universe in Stolen Earth and Journey's End. We have this character who wants to save all at the cost, you know, no matter what they think or whatever they do, which is, you can question that, definitely. But I think the interesting thing for me about that was, again, it's like, he doesn't understand why someone wouldn't want to be saved when they know they're going to die. Especially for something so trivial as race. And I think that's why it's sort of clever. Liberal truth. Literal truth. It's important to remember that the Doctor isn't a black human. He's an alien from a culture which doesn't have our history of oppression. It makes sense that he'd be more frustrated by the stupid humans. Completely with you. That's it. That's the whole thing, isn't it? Racism is stupid. It is stupid, and it is brain rot. It is mindless nonsense. It doesn't make any sense. And the Doctor sees, and sort of sees that. It's like, this is completely stupid. Why wouldn't you? He can't understand that at all. And I think it's important to show it through that lens, because it's a different way of showing it. With someone who didn't want to be saved by the Doctor. Not because of a breakdown in trust and communication, not because of something valid or there, because of the colour of his skin. And I think in that respect is very clever writing. Very, very clever writing. That's what I didn't like about Jodie. She was written like the Doctor was still a man. She never really got treated like a woman too much. She was treated like she was a man most of the time. Yes, and I think it was important to develop that and explore that and see what that was like. And I think the Witchfinders, that's why I really like the Witchfinders, because it deals with a story that you can only tell with the Doctor being a woman. And I think that's important. You should, like, obviously you shouldn't do, like, there's certain things you shouldn't just, like, make all of that what it's about. You know, the Doctor can also be, you know, can be anything. But because we, the audience, haven't seen the Doctor as a woman before, we want to see. It's interesting to see how that change actually changes the travels and the experience of it. Yeah, but I agree with the writers team. I wish we had more people of colour in the writers' room. I'm hoping we get that next season. I think especially when you're trying to tell stories about race, you need... And I'm not saying Russell didn't have any consultation. He probably did have some consultation. He probably did have a lot of drafts and a lot of time to think about it and a lot of feedback and peer review. We don't know. He might have had loads, he might have had none. I genuinely have no idea. But I'm assuming for just the best case scenario that he did. And for next season, it would be nice to see a more diverse writers' room, a more diverse directorial team as well. Why do people get up in arms about not having a traditional episode of Doctor Who? We have decades of episodes of that. The show needs to find a way to reinvent and keep... I can't read that. I don't know why my eyes are just like blurred over that. I think Dot and Bubble was fantastic. It was fresh, interesting, and unconventional ending, which made for an interesting... made for interesting Doctor. Love that they did the racism episode in the future rather than going back to the 1950s and going, oh, look how racist we used to be. Completely. That is something so important that I haven't even mentioned, actually, Literal Truth. You're on it today with these comments. Seriously, like, that's a great thing to say because it's so true. Is that it's all... Doctor Who has a habit of telling... Like Rosa, for example. It does deal with it in a good way. I'm not saying Rosa's bad in that respect at all. It actually does deal with it in a very good way. But I like what this shows is that it's like... It doesn't matter how far in the future we get and how other things, there's still going to be people who are just awful like that, who are oppressive and racist and bigoted, and that is unfortunately. And it's like we're not looking back in time and going, oh, look how much better we are now than what we were then. It's like, no, it's still bad now, and it still needs to be addressed in our media, in our TV, in our film, in a clever, intelligent way. That's what I love about this episode. If you watch this episode, you get all the way through, and you don't realise what it's trying to say, then you can reflect on that. Doesn't mean you're a bad person if you didn't clock on it, to be fair, because at the end of the day, you know, it came out at midnight. You would be excused for half falling asleep during the episode. But if, depending on how you watch it, and depending on however long it took you to spot what was going on, whether it took you 10 minutes, whether it took you to the end of the episode, I think it gives you opportunity to reflect on your life, especially, you know, if you're in a privileged position, to look upon that and go, well, God, I probably should have clocked onto those warning signs earlier. And I think that's important. Definitely. Dot Bubble looks stunning. Hope they keep Dylan Holmes-Williams for the future. Dylan Holmes-Williams has been good so far. He's been really good so far. And that's just obviously, like, let's give credit as well to the cinematographers of that episode as well, and the camera operators who probably made, and the VFX artists as well, who made that look incredible. Performance-wise, though, spot on for Dylan Holmes-Williams. I hate that Jodie gave a soldier grief for trying to blow up all the Sontarans in Flux, but then committed genocide against the Sontarans at the end of the season. Yep. Stuff like that I don't really like. But, you know, it's just little inconsistencies, isn't it? Less so to do with the morals of it, but more to do with just the inconsistency of it. I wish they'd given us a little bit extra to show the Doctor's reaction a little bit more after we came into the TARDIS when the episode ended. Yeah, an extra little 10 minutes would have been nice. Or not 10 minutes, but an extra little couple minutes would have been nice. William Hartnell didn't like that there was a black astronaut on the 10th planet. Well, this is the thing. It was... And that's bad, you know, at the time. But you need to sort of... I don't trust stories immediately like this, because I personally haven't heard that before. I don't think that William Hartnell would have said something like that, considering that the first director he worked with on Doctor Who was a person of colour. But go off, I guess. I love how 15 said to 14 in the giggle that you can't save everyone, and in this episode shows the Doctor not being able to save anyone. And I think that's a good point. But also it's like that whole thing of like, he did everything he could. He was just desperate to save them. He's desperate to not let anyone die where he could have helped. And I think that's such an important character point for the Doctor that will never change. No matter what they think or do, he was clearly upset and annoyed by that reaction. But he still went on to double down and say, look, I will still save you. Even though you say these things, even though you think these things, I will still save you. But then part of me does miss, you know, the vibe of Capaldi just punching a racist across the face in thin ice. So there's always that as well. But yeah, I thought it was a good episode. I really enjoyed it, and I'm very excited to see what comes next in the series. We've got a couple more. We've got a big screening for the finale as well, like a live cinema screening. Is anyone going to the cinema to see the finale screening for the Empire of Death and the Legend of Ruby Sunday, of course? Is anyone going to the cinema? And if you are, which cinema are you going to? If you don't want to say, don't feel that you have to, but I'm going to BFI IMAX in London. So if you're going to BFI IMAX in London, feel free to come and say hi. I will be there. You know what? I'm going to say, after all of this, I don't think Rogue is Jack. I just don't see it happening now. Be lucky to get home at 1 a.m. Don't know how long that episode's going to be yet. Going to Odeon Best Cinema. Odeon's good. I like Odeon. I do like Odeon. But yeah, if anyone's going to BFI IMAX in London, look out. Look out. Oh. Incredible. The listing says 2 hours. Oh, so it'll finish at 1 then. That's good. Enjoyed the season for how experimental it's been. However, part of me does think that also hasn't made it the best season to introduce new Disney Plus viewers to the show. It's sort of all over the place, isn't it? In a good way, but also a bad way. I don't know how the Disney stats are looking, but you know what? If Disney are still buying the series, they're still buying the series. The fact of the matter is, you have to think is we can't. There's a point in time where with Doctor Who, we'd have to worry about the ratings. I don't worry a bit about the ratings anymore, and the reason I don't care about the ratings is because it doesn't matter. Ratings only matter when Disney drop us, but the thing is, at the end of the day, Disney have picked it up. Russell's writing season 3, season 4 now. Season 2's finished filming. It's like we're at least gonna get another season, and then possibly another 2 seasons after that. We don't know. As soon as we see season 3 go into production, I'll be punching the air because it means that Disney are happy and we're cracking on, and it probably will happen. But it'll be a little while yet because they've just wrapped season 2, so they probably want a little bit of a break. And I know Shooty's going to have a little bit of a break, and I don't know how long Shooty's going to stay as the Doctor as well. That's the other thing. How excited are you for Rogue and Jonathan Groff being in Doctor Who? Jonathan Groff is a brilliant, brilliant actor who... I'm so excited to be in the world of Doctor Who. I think it... You know what I think, though? I think it'll be a replacement for Jack. I don't think it'll be Jack. I just think it'll be a Jack-type character. I think it'll make you go, it's basically supposed to be Jack. But it's not. Oh, we're going to do the usual thing. We've got about 10 minutes left, so we're going to play a little bit of 13. Why is this... Why is it doing this in a weird way? That's very strange. Why did it put it there? That's very annoying, actually. For those who aren't aware what happens on Tuesdays, I'm going to tell you what happens on Tuesdays, so get bloody ready, I'll tell you right now. On Tuesdays, ladies and gents, we do a little stream here on YouTube called the Who Bulletin. You're watching it now, and it's wonderful, and it's fun and exciting. But immediately after the Who Bulletin ends at about 8 o'clock, we go over to Twitch, twitch.tv, to play some video games. And this time, I'm not just playing some random shite video games. We are playing a game that I played when I was very young, and I loved when I was very young. We are going to be going on there from about 8 o'clock, and we're going to be talking about Doctor Who still, obviously. You can ask all your Doctor Who-y questions, of course you can, don't fret. But we're going to be playing Crash Twinsanity, a game that I grew up with, a game that I have so much nostalgia for and absolutely, absolutely adored. And I cannot wait to play that for the first time in years. So tune in after this stream. We're not quite done yet. We're going to play a bit of 13, answer some more of your Doctor Who questions, and then yeah, we're going to play some Crash Twinsanity, which will be very fun. It'll be Twinsan. It'll be Twinsan. I don't fucking know. But yeah, ask your Doctor Who questions. Oh yeah, and also subscribe to Nostalgia Bit. Link in chat, link in chat, link in chat. The link is in the chat for this Twitch. The link is pinned in the chat for the Nostalgia Bit YouTube channel, which you should all subscribe to right now. Live slug reaction. Yeah, I wish we got... Yeah, we need more memes of that. Will the cinema screening contain footage that isn't on TV or iPlayer? No. It's just the episode. But it's a more exciting way to watch it in cinema. I believe you anyway. You never know. Maybe Shooty Catware will pop up and be like, "Hi, I'm the Doctor and I'm here in the cinema." And then everyone at home will be really confused because the episode will just stop. What's the highest score you ever got on this game? Too high. Probably will get a post-credits tease for the Christmas special. Definitely something, because they've shot it so far in advance, but then I feel like maybe they wouldn't want to because it's so far away, you know what I mean? Actually, why would they even want to tease it? I don't know. One of the trailers said the guy's a bounty hunter. Yes, I believe he's a bounty hunter. But notice bounty hunter and not time agent. Just pointing that out there. He's giving time agent vibes, though. I'll give you that. Can't wait to see who the hell Susan Twist is. Yeah, honestly, same. I'm hoping we get like a big reveal or something in the finale. I feel like we're kind of overdue something kind of catastrophic. But I have faith, and the reason I have faith is because I do trust Russell with the finale. His finales have been mostly good. I fucking game over already? Fuck me. Okay. Did you pick history or geography GCSE? I picked history GCSE. And geography. I did both. I did history and geography GCSE. Bloody hell. That's a long time ago now. Bounty hunter is not... A time agent isn't a bounty hunter. That's a different thing. I'm not accepting it. It's not... I'm telling you now. As much as I was sort of saying it would happen, it's not Jack. It ain't Jack. I feel like there'd be a lot more tease about it in the previews and reviews and stuff if it was Jack. A theory that they're in a TV show or something would be very, very meta. But, you know, that wouldn't surprise me in a way, though, because of... I think in recent times as well, there's definitely some inspiration from other shows and other Marvel projects as well. Like, bear in mind, I'm not saying it's like a big clear thing, but like, there's definitely going to be some inspiration in there from like WandaVision and stuff, right? And then the preview had like a TV camera and like the Legend of Ruby Sunday, so I wonder if it's going to be something really meta and cool and different. Which I'd be completely game for, to be honest. I think that'd be really exciting. I'm trying to work out what the sand thing is. I don't know what the sand shit is about. That's what I'm most excited for, to see how they handle that. There we go. Look at that. Wonderful. We got John Hurt already. The next episode is written by the writers of Loki. Yeah, exactly. There you go. That's some fun stuff. I think that's a great shout, by the way, as well. The fact they managed to get that is a huge deal, actually, for Doctor Who. Because it establishes that Doctor Who is on that level. Whether you think it is or not is irrelevant. Like, it establishes in terms of Disney's eyes, in terms of like production-wise, it's like Doctor Who is an exciting thing to work on. That people who have worked with Marvel now want to work on. That's a cool thing. That is a very good thing for the show to have going for it. Lovely stuff. I think Jonathan Groff is playing a Time Lord called Rogue. Doctor's making a big deal about being the last one. Imagine if he finds out he isn't. I think they'll save the Time Lord thing for the finale. I think Rogue is a bounty hunter, and I think he's after the Doctor, and I think he's after someone else, and I think that someone else might be another Time Lord who is currently on Earth. I feel, I'm just going off like... Look, I don't think we're going to get anything to the same level as it, but one of my favourite moments from Doctor Who in like recent... of all time is the ending of Turn Left. The way the music ramps up slowly, comes into all the strange creatures. The universe is going to end. It's a massive cliffhanger. It's not got anything to do with the finale. It has, obviously, because it leads into it, right? But like, you're not seeing any Daleks. You're not seeing any like other characters. It's just Bad Wolf. It's just like a danger is coming kind of thing. And I think that is really fucking cool. And I hope that this episode ends with something similar. I really do. I really, really do. Because I feel like it can as well. I feel like it has the potential. 100%. So I'm excited. see what that is going to look like. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, though, won't we? It's going to be very exciting. Fuck, I did that. That's bad. Another Time Lord. You mean the Rani? Begins with R, doesn't it? You never know. No, I don't. I think there'll be another Time Lord, and I think the other Time Lord will be Susan Foreman. I have my suspicions that they're gonna do Susan this season. I just, something about it, just the references to Susan in Devil's Cord, him being the last of the Time Lords, not having any family left. It's just the same stuff we've heard before with Doctor Who, and I'm waiting for them to spin it round and it not be a villain who's coming back, but like a friend. That would be very cool. That would be very, very cool. I would love that. And I think, God, we've got a new companion next season who hasn't been named yet. Yes, she was technically in Boom, which is really weird. And that kind of messes up my theory a little bit, definitely. But I love the idea that, oh my God, we could possibly get Susan Foreman in Doctor Who again. And that would be very cool. From a fan perspective, that's just something that I just can't believe it's never, ever happened. Other than like the 5 Doctors, which is crazy to me. That. Why has it not happened? Why? Dear me. And yes, as I said before, if you're watching, it's got to be. I think it's got to be Susan. I think they'd be stupid to do the fucking Rani. Because we've sort of done that, I think, with Russell before, with the Master coming back and it being like, oh my God, the Master's back. You are not alone kind of vibe. That's a different vibe entirely to bringing back the Doctor's own granddaughter, you know? Shame that's not on screen. Cool. I'm getting fucking WhatsApp notifications when my WhatsApp isn't even open, so that's good. Hoping we're going to get to Tenant here, but we might not, so that's fun. But yeah, immediately after the stream ends, by the way, as I've mentioned before, we do go live on Twitch every Tuesday. I know it's a different website. It's very easy for that to be your point to clock off for the night, but please do join us. It'll be a lot of fun. We're going to be playing Crash Bandicoot, one of my favourite childhood games, and we're going to be talking more about Doctor Who and answering any of your guys' questions. Any questions you guys have, I'll be answering as I'm playing the video game, so please do join in if you have any more burning stuff that I haven't answered directly straight away. Now we're fucked. Okay. Now it's done. Cool. They didn't do very well there because we had to go up, which is not very good. But yes, that is the end of our stream today. Before I go, I will want to shout out a couple more times before we run off into the distance that is twitch.tv. A few little mentions to stuff going on. You may have noticed there hasn't been a review for the last couple episodes of Doctor Who on this channel. There will be, hopefully, at some point. My aim is to be very much doing that soon, so keep an eye out for that. We have got reviews for Boom, Devil's Cord and Space Babies on there now. You guys have been very, very lovely supporting those videos, and I really, really appreciate it. So hopefully we will have reviews of 73 Yards and Dot and Bubble on there soon, but in the meantime, if you want to check out my rambly thoughts, like on this live stream, I did do a 73 Yards one last week. So please do check that out. We have, as I've already mentioned before, of course, we do have a podcast, which now has its own channel here on YouTube. It's linked in the chat. Please go and click on that link. If you haven't already, please click on that link. Drop over here. Drop me a little subscription. That would be very, very much appreciated. Just help support this as we sort of try and get it off the ground. It is obviously, we've got the podcast off the ground and we've hit the ground running with that. And that's great to see that just pop up on screen. Wonderful. Let me just... Yeah, I can't close that from here. That's good. Okay. But yes, let's move that over here. As you know, we do have a podcast. We've talked about it numerous times. There's brand new episodes every single Thursday, full-length video podcasts now. If you want to go back into our sort of data banks and go to the Nostalgia Bait stuff on Spotify, it's going to continue to be on Spotify, but it's also going to be on YouTube here as well. So yeah, get over there, subscribe now if you haven't already. I'd really, really appreciate it. Click on the link in the chat, pinned up there to this YouTube video. Give it a like, comment, all that sort of thing. And obviously subscribe with notifications on, and we'll be having more stuff very, very soon. We've got shorts rolling out. We've got videos rolling out. We've got a lot of stuff to keep an eye out for. So stay tuned. But yeah, right now, if I haven't answered any of your Doctor Who questions, hold that thought and bring them over to twitch.tv/gbsheard, where we're going to be streaming pretty much immediately. So get over here, check it out, and we'll be going live very, very soon. Someone has just followed me over on Twitch. Thank you to UTWE_ for following. If you haven't already followed and you want a little crisp to spin around on screen with your name, please do go over to Twitch and give us a follow now. We're 7 followers away from 700, which is also very exciting. So let's see if we can hit that today. Maybe not, but we'll see. We're going to go and play some Crash Bandicoot. Come and join us over there. The link is in the chat. You've got no excuses. Come and talk to me about Doctor Who on another platform. I'll be going live immediately after we finish here. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you all next